circles. Up and down the block. I'd ask him what the matter was. Oh, the ragman draws circles. Up and down the block. I'd ask him what the matter was. Oh, the ragman draws circles. Up and down the block. I'd ask him what the matter was. Oh, the ragman draws circles. Up and down the block. I'd ask him what the matter was. Oh, the ragman draws circles.
Test, test. Hello. Test, test. Hey, Dire Thing. Good evening. Some echo. Okay. I wouldn't know why. Let me make sure one thing. That's on headset. Okay. Huh, any better? Well, if I can get this camera working, and I have had it working 10 minutes ago, we're going to do some turning tonight. Yay! I'll step on it too. Make sure it's dead. Alright, corny music. Like I said, the game plan's the same as last week. Yeah, I'll be able to see chat on my phone, and you guys can watch off my tablet, and we'll make some drip tips. All I have to do is stop halfway through and reset the camera to go over to the polisher. Alright, let's get out of bluegrass. Get out of bluegrass. Although it is a lot of fun. I was a member in a bluegrass band for about 2 months in college. Only ever did one concert, and that was at a kegger for some rich people. And we were playing our tunes, and it started to pour rain. And we played Mr. Bojangles for about an hour, and then we did the Rocky Mountain Breakdown for about another hour. Hey, Stuart! Subaru nerd. I'm sorry, I did not read it. My apologies. My apologies. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I played rhythm guitar. Had a blast with that stuff. And of course we all got good and schnockered. And on the way home in an old van, we had to go to the bathroom, and the driver pulled over. I think it was the harp player, and little did we know it was in the middle of the night, and he pulled up on the side of the road where there was like a 10-foot drop. I mean, it was a hill, but still, it wasn't flat ground, and all those drunk people just stepped out like people stepping out of a plane. And just like, whoa! Oh, boy. It's amazing I survived it all. Yeah. Oh, let's see.
It was raining hard in Frisco. I needed one more fare to make my
Hey, Stuart.
night.
Just the guy I was looking for. It is running. That little clip did the job. Gave me a little bit of trouble, but it slipped right in, sealed right up. I've been driving it around. The only thing I have yet is I still have a check engine light for a P300 code, which is... it wasn't you. It was. It wasn't for you. I wouldn't have it together. I have a P300 code for random misfire, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't idle the best in the world. So I gotta go. That's the last thing I gotta figure out. So thank you for your help. Absolutely. Once I get it, get some time, I want to clean it up, and then I'll show it to you guys. Right now, it's got greasy fingerprints all over it. So yeah, but it's a neat little, I said, it's a pretty neat little sports car, really. So it's got a 2-liter, it's a light car, and the only thing is I forgot how much shifting you do in town. It's like, oh, that's right, you don't get to just cruise, you gotta do things. But the cruise control worked, and I never thought they'd ever do cruise control for a standard stick car. For a standard transmission. I guess it only works in 5th gear. But then I found out I was coming off the highway on cruise control, and I was in 5th gear, and I just popped it out without hitting the brake or hitting the clutch, and the engine pegged redline. It's like, what? Here, I guess the cruise control, if it doesn't see a load, it just quick hit the brakes, and then it went back to, then it stopped. But that was a bit, I say that was a bit of a scare. I mean, it pegs it. 7 is red line, and it went 7, 8, 9, and it's like, ah! Hey, Smurf! Yep. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna, if I get this pad working, like I hope it will, we'll do a little turning. I'll wait for a little bit for folks to get in here. And I'm turning because I want to put, let's say, this Eclipse. Interesting thing that I can tell you about here is I was using this Dead Rabbit tank, alright? And for some reason on this thing, I would get readings of like 0.4, 0.5. It's like, what the hell? And eventually it would clear itself out. Here, the way this bottom screws on, the way the bottom screws, well, here, let me go this way. Be easier. Come here, you. The way this unscrews, because if you look, the center part is separate from the ring. So I guess you just have to make sure you have a good contact when you tighten that down. And I guess I didn't. So the ohms were all over the place. And it's kind of a bugger to get right because there's 2 notches you have to line up. And they don't really tell you where they are. See, it didn't catch. But they're in line with the coil, so once you get it, it feels like it's not supposed to go, but there you go. Now it's back together again, and I probably should try it on here again to see if I fixed it. That would have cleared it out. Yeah, it definitely took care of all. That was a nice cloud of black smoke out the back, I'm sure. But I was too terrified trying to grabbing gears and freaking pushing pedals to figure it out. But I know that's a trick I used to always do with cars, is take them out on the highway and put them in second gear and just let them wind out. So, but it's nice to know it can. So anyway, that's what that's all about. Never wanna let it go. I stuffed the bill in my shirt. And she walked away in silence, saying how you never know. But we both gotten what we asked for such a long, long time ago. You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna be to fly. So anyway, yeah, I got the next one queued up. Let's see if I can get this thing fired up, because what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to put this in front of the camera, and oh, that's what's going on. That's why it wants to shut off all the time. Now, if I can get this to go live again, because I was having problems with it locking up. I'm stoned. Alright. Well, let's get this going. Open the app up again. Of course it doesn't want to. Arrived just the other day. Of course it doesn't want to work. While I was away, and as he grew, he said, I want to be like you, Dad. I want to be like you. Let me just see if I can get this flipping thing going. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then. Come on. Talk about lag on here. You ought to. This guy's something else. 'Cause this is a picture I'm after. Let's say that's my chuck, and that's the lathe of the bed of my lathe. So it's just being a. Then all of a sudden it'll catch up and everything will be fine. know when, but we will get together then. You know we'll have a good time then.
Well, it came from
It's just the other day.
So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head
And he said with a smile,
"What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow
how does the car keys? With the later, can I have them, please? That's funny. That's just how my stepkids are. They'll come up or down to visit, and they'll come through the door and drop their shit and say hi for like 5 minutes and take off to go see their buds. I find it quite interesting. Yay, I think we got it. Up just the other day. I gotta make sure I don't touch the screen. As I say, there's a better way to do this. I just haven't taken the time to figure it out yet. Hassling the kids of the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. Sure nice talking to you. Yay, it's live. It occurred to me. So this is the game plan. I'm gonna put it just like that, and then you guys can watch what I'm doing. So, hey, I cannot pronounce your name. BSIDB. Hey, Sonic. So yeah, I guess while everything's working, I probably should go and do that, and I need to just put up an album to play through while I do this stuff. Where's some pop? As good as any. While it's working, how about Paul Simon, Neil Diamond, The Monkees, and Michael Jackson? That'll be a good one. I'm going to make a 5-10 tip and an 8-10 tip because I need one of each. So, and I need a green one and then just whatever. Where's a... Let me just see if I can put these all on Alright, how do I include these?
I didn't have a clue. I stood alone not knowing where to turn. Now suddenly I look around. Everything looks
Oh. Duh. I forget how to do this stuff.
I think I'm starting to learn.
There we go. One song might play twice, but you'll have this. Alright, let's go play before something else happens. Hit while the iron's hot.
There's so much I could know.
Like I said, I can see chat. Yeah, BSI BizDib. Sorry if I got that wrong, but that's a great collection of letters. So, and I can watch what's going on here too, so let me get over here. Oop. Let me get my... Need my safety glasses. That would help. Alright. There we go. Alright, there's that. And you guys can see me here. There we go. Cool.
Got me understand.
Alright, let me put this down and this down.
Finally understand. You're really on my side.
Hey, Jerry.
Really on my side.
Let me wipe my glasses off here, and we need to pick a color to make an 810 out of, because that's what I'm set up to do right now. So, yeah, let's pick a couple. Let you guys tell me what you want. This. Oh, let's see. Just grab out of the scrap box. There's a nice pretty blue, so what do you guys think? What flavor? It'll be up here in a second. Blue. Now this blue. Now we got two blues here. Doesn't matter, huh? Yeah, I'll do this blue and silver. That's as good as any. Yep. Now, what you gotta, and, well, you know what? I did want to, now this has already been started, so I am going to have to trim this down. So it goes in the chuck. This is a 4-jaw chuck. And this is what's called a live center because it spins. It also makes everything nice and straight. He's looking mighty fine. Because I don't want to use that unless it's the right size. Oh, you want the white blue? Okay, you got it. It's easy to do. Thing in common, fire down below. Lock that in. Lock that in. Let's get this lawyer and the cop. One thing for certain, they ain't never gonna stop. That's what I do when I'm turning. I'm sitting here singing all the time. Now I'm gonna put my shield on because this hurts. Because these little shards come flying off of here. Alright. That's what that looks like. Now what I'm using is a carbide tip tool. This is actually carbide, and there we go. What you do is, just come in here and alright, that'll be good enough to start. And now what I want to do is I want to put the drill in. Let's say next thing I do is, can you guys hear me okay? Let me take the mask off. As long as you guys can hear me okay, let me know. And what you do is, this is a regular 3-jaw chuck. And what I'm going to do is just take it in, and that's how I drill the inside hole. And that's plenty long enough for one. Great, thank you. That's plenty deep enough for a single tip. Now if I were making 2 or 3, I'd go a little bit deeper. Now I'm bringing my live center back in. And that just loads the bearings a little bit. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut the section for the will go in the RDA or tank. The only problem is this thing will not let me do it all in one shot because this is too big. And I've looked around for a smaller one and I just haven't found one yet. So I have to go in here with a different tool. And wherever it is, there it is. And I made a tool, and this is just out of a fitting. And what it is, there you go. In fact, that's really nice. As I said, it allows me to test fit it before I go too much farther. Now, the next thing I want to do before I go too much farther is I want to cut the O-ring groove, and for that I have some nice little tools, and I'm just going to go in here and like that, and then I have this is an abrasive string. And what you do then is you can go in here and clean it up a little bit. So now what I do, so I'll stop it for a second. And I have a Gremlin 25 here that I use as my test. And that needs to be just a little shorter. Let me just cut this down just a little bit. I also have, you saw the square one, this is a round one. And you need a lot of, we'll round that off a little bit. See, because now, it still could take a little bit more off. But what I'm more interested in is make sure I have an O-ring that fits. So I'll take a little O-ring, put it on here, and see that it goes on, but it's too big. So pull that one off and try a smaller one. There, you rascal. There's a little one. Now, this one might be just too small. No, actually that's just right. That could be a little tighter. And that's where I have a bunch of different size O-rings, but I know I have something that fits now because I went from bigger to smaller and I have things in the middle. So let me go back to what I was doing. I want to make this just to put my gloves back on. These gloves have been a godsend. When you turn, you're not supposed to have gloves on, but these are mechanic gloves, and they're very tight. And because of the heat of the acrylic, it really saves my tail. So, you can tell how much I use them, you know. So let me just trim this down just a little more and we'll continue. See? Gotta be careful. There we go. Now I like to make these things 18 millimeter. is pretty much the standard size. If you look at the areas that that most of the ridges are, if you go to 18, a little tall for 18 millimeter, that's pretty much where you want to be. So we still have just a hair to go on this yet. I say it's not quite there. And what I'll do if I'm doing a lot of them is I will take an older one like this and open it up. Now this is old school, this thing. And you can see it's even gotten wet, which is a sin. And what I do is come on, I will, there you. I say I'll do like that, and that way I have this one set at 18, and I can put this one away and just use this one as my guide. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna finish. This out of the way, put my live center back in here. And I do want to clean this up just a touch. Alright, so that's pretty good. Well, I can live with that. Let's see what we got. There's a couple little air bubbles in there. But they're in the white, so it's not a big deal. So, that's his, okay, good. So let me do I do a little bit of wet sanding on the bottom before I cut it off. So a lot of times I use two lathes because I have two different chucks here. And this is a big one for here, and this is the little one. But because I'm not going to be moving cameras around, I'm just doing it all with one. Chuck. So yeah, all I'm doing is I'm just taking all the edges off. And then I get in here a little bit. And we can do this real quick. All right. So let me get, all I need is one glove because I'm going to cut it off. And what I use for cutting it off, this is what's called a parting tool. And it's just a pointy tool. And what you do is you get in here and pick a spot. That's as good as any. I like to make them taller than necessary, so I can always cut them down, but I can't cut them back up. There we go. And that's what we have to start with. Now, we'll get rid of this. Now we take it and we take our tool, our blank, and I leave it away just a touch so I can get the it has to be pretty straight, so let's see what we got. It's not bad. Now what I'm working on is going to be the inside and the top. So what I got to do is I have to take my tool rest and take it. Come on. There we go. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. And I will either use, now this is what's called a spindle gouge. And what you do is you come in here, let me just put my glove back on. So what do you think so far, guys? So what you do is you come in here and has to be up. I mean, 1/8 of an inch on this tool rest makes a world of difference. Yeah, I cut the angle in a lot sharper to get down to the bottom. Still's a little... I have another. But I really want to get fancy. I can go in here with this. One wrong move though and the whole thing's junk. So you gotta be careful. So let's see what we got here. I still would like to make that a little deeper. I have one more tool up my sleeve. As soon as I find it, I heard it drop on the floor. This is another spindle gouge, and what I can do with this is I bring this up and I come in here and I can clean the bottom out a lot nicer because it has a smaller radius. Oh, I like that. That's better. Now what we do next is to... Hey, Bill. Yeah, it should be, Bill. I'd take a 36-inch fused Clapton on it. Be a hell of an alien, wouldn't it? Let me have a vape quick and we'll get to wet sanding. So, as I say, Bill, you're welcome to come over here and use it any time. So what I do then is I wet sand with 220. 220 and 320, so. And what I do is I periodically sand these lathe beds down because they do get rusty from water dripping on them. Sure I wet it enough. But it does get hot if you're not careful. So I'm sure I got that pretty well. I go to the inside. I get enough water. Because you don't use oil. Although I guess you could if you really wanted to. But I wouldn't want oil being slung around all over the place. Now we'll take our paper towels, shut it down, and see what we got. Uh-oh, I feel a problem already. Really, there's one of the air bubbles is right here in the center. It's like, you bugger. I know you can't see it, but where is it? Right there. There's a little air bubble. And I would feel that every time on my lip. Oh, that would make me crazy. So we got to shorten this thing up a little bit. It happens. Then just have to sand it again. So I'm going to use the round tool. Now this has to be, tool rest needs to be a little bit lower. Yeah, that's better. That's better. See, I can feel the tiniest little thing because this thing is spinning. And it's stuff you'd never see, I can catch because just like having a strobe, that sort of thing. Hey, Speed. Hey, Kevin. Moose. As I say, so I'm making some square things round, guys. And I want to do another one so you didn't miss much. So now this is the 320 grit. And the 320, now what I used to do, and I'll have to just let that sit in there and do its thing. What I used to do before I did this method, and this is what you guys can do without having to spend a ton of money, is here we go. Yeah, I used to use these micro meshes. So, and these are, I used to go through every one of those steps to get it polished. And it works really well. But what I do now works a whole lot better. So let's turn this off and see what we got. Oh, that's nice. I got little bitty scratches, but I don't care about those. I can take them out with the polishing. So here we go, gang. Let me wipe that out. There's a little dirt in there, but like I said, that'll all come out in the wash. So that's where we're at right now. That's the level of shine. So I want to make my 510 quick for my Boreas. And we'll go and then we'll polish them both up. So I need a nice green. I need a green to match. I need a green to match that green. So let's see what we got here. Got bunches of greens. Riding all the time. night. Slipping out of sight. Yeah, that's close. It's not perfect, but I guess it's close enough. Hey, it's a little. I have one other one up there. I mean, that's pretty good. Coming, they got the fire down below. 1, 2, 3. Now these pieces are pretty small. Now this is the other one. This is called Grasshopper. And that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to use this for my 510. Yeah, I mean, it'll work. So, I say this already has the hole in it for the 510 too, so that's kind of neat. Now, if you were starting with just a fresh blank that didn't have a hole in it already, what you would do is I have a tool right here, and I don't know where my pencil went. Oh, it's all the way down there on the floor. All right, I can use this. So what I would do is I have a tool here that allows you to make a mark, turn it 90 degrees, make another mark, another 90, and so forth and so on. So if I was starting with a straight one, you can see that it shows me right where the center is, and two reasons. One is that balance, because it'll be off balance till you get it round, and two, you don't waste a lot of material. So that's what that's all about. And if you notice, all I use is paper towels, and there's a reason for that, because if something gets caught, the paper towel will rip instead of a rag, where a rag will just suck your hand in. So, what's that? I use a tailstock with a bit speed. I use this. So, but this is all, that blank has already got the hole in it. I just don't know if it's deep enough. Probably should check. It could go a little deeper. So let's change. Better too much than not enough. So let me switch out this drill, and there's a magnetic bar above my lathe that I have two 18-inch magnetic bars, and I just stick everything to the magnetic bars so I have at least some resemblance of order. Because I have a cart sitting next to me here that I made to hold all my big tools, and the system works pretty good. There's always room for improvement, but it's not bad. So what we do here is, again, take your live center out, hang that up. I may have to roll this back to get this in. Now you want to, because this is what's called a number 2 Morris taper, and this piece is tapered, and that's what locks it in place. So let me get my gloves on. So next week I'll be 61. That don't scare the hell out of you. I don't know what does. So let me tighten this. See how I did. Okay, pretty good. So let me go in here and just drill this out a little bit. Better to have too much depth than not enough. Nobody likes a short hole. Some of the same rules apply on the other one. I go in there with my one tool and go in here with my carbide tool. Double nickel, there you go. Hey, do I gotta go put another album on? Sounds like it. Let me just make this part. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't go down to the size because this is a little wide. So what I have to do is get this other parting tool. That might be a little bit small. But what I do for that then is, there you go. There you go. I do the same thing. I will pull this away, and I have an old RTA, and you can see it doesn't fit on. All right. So what I do is I come back with this. Not quite yet. So, and I do like to taper them a little bit. There we go. That's not bad. This could be a little shorter. That happens too. Little heavy hand and you're done. Start over again. Put my live center back in. Those things are very delicate. That's why I usually do them on a smaller lathe. Try that again. Now, one thing I guess I should point out is you should be doing this standing up. Yeah, that's kind of the way it is, but seeing how my stander doesn't work so good, I do everything sitting down. Well, I still have a little to go. Let me just cut a little bit off of here. Now we take this and, there we go. We just have to clean a little bit out of here. Now, I should get a Boreas and see how, well, I know they're about 16. Let me get a Boreas. I'll be right back to the lathe here. Oh, it's still playing. I just couldn't hear it. Here's a Boreas. Out in the yard. My friends on my credit card. So what I'm going to do now is I want to make it for a Boreas. I have my Boreas here. And unfortunately I dropped my veneer and cracked the lens. But we can see that the edge there is about 15, so that's what we want to turn. So I don't think I need the tailstock anymore. So let's get in here close. Until you get it, you gotta get it just right, or you're fighting it. It's actually a tiny bit high. The idea is this tool is supposed to cut this in half. I'm trying to follow, but if you have any questions, Speed, please jump in. Because I know you got everything to get to do this kind of thing. Let's see what we got here. Knew we had a ways to go yet. Take a chunk off. Should put my groove in right now, but a little ways to go. Now what other people might use is you can use a spindle gouge. And this is probably what Speed has. This is what's called a spindle gouge. And this will do the same thing. Show how to reel. Getting there. I haven't pulled the spindle gouge out in a while, so let's play with this a while. Go, that'll work. Now let me see, it looks a little fat up here. Real careful. See, I'm just barely touching it. Just get up in here and make an O-ring groove. Keeping track of those little strings makes me crazy. Oh, I have a whole roll, so. The neat thing is, West Coast. Coast. Give them a toast. Here's my. Yeah, see, it doesn't fit that, so I have to cut that down a touch. Kathmandu. Needs to be a little shorter. Oh, he's cleaned that off so I can see my edge. There you go. And it could be just a touch shorter. It's bottoming out, which I don't like. Where's my round one? That should do it. There we go. Now I just need to find an O-ring for it. I have a whole tray of O-rings up here. there's no point in going any further if you don't have an O-ring that's gonna fit. Or if you have to change it, you want to change it after you polished it. So, and like I said, I've made every dumb mistake you can make. So that's how I learned. That's how I learned everything. It could be a little bit tighter. Let's see.
I ain't got nothing against the E. Oh, I'm gonna miss a USA. I guess I'll miss it every
Single day.
But no one loves me here anyway. I know
Here we
my
go. This is the one I want.
way
Throw a couple of these in the tray too while I'm at it.
up to the mountains where I'm going to. If I ever get out of here,
There we go.
that's what I'm gonna do.
And this should be the one I need.
Kathmandu. Really, really, really going to. If I ever get out of here. If I
There we
ever
go.
get out of here.
Good.
If I ever get out,
That's the one I want.
I'm gonna
Now I'm going to cut it off and
Ow. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
turn around and do the inside.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
I just need one glove. So what are you thinking, gang? Something I ought to do every once in a while? Every once in a while I ought to set up something and turn it, or do some kind of a project, vape related. I take this thinner parting tool, I'm going to cut it off, and like I said, I'll make it a little taller than I want, because it's easier to cut it tall. Take this. So that's what we end up with. Let's lose this. Stub, put that in the stub box. Now, there's a problem with this one, because this doesn't go small enough to grab this. So what I did is I went down to Lowe's. If I can find it, I always have a little piece floating around. Yeah. I went down to Lowe's and just got some regular tubing. And what I do is I put this in there like that, and then fit it into the chuck. And that makes it just tall enough that I can cinch it down, but I don't think that's in there square. Not even close. Hold on. What I gotta do is get that edge off.
You don't know what he wants. You don't know.
A lot of times you can just break it off with your fingers, or at least I can break it off with my fingers.
When nothing
So,
comes easy,
and what I do too is I
nightmares all real.
put the chuck up against it, and sometimes that breaks it
Until
off.
you've been beside a man, you don't know how he
There we go.
feels. Once inside a woman's heart, a man must keep
Yeah,
his
amen,
head.
Bill. That is, no truer words have been spoken.
Heaven opens up the door where
on.
angels fear to tread. Some men go
So.
crazy.
Now this one's a lot smaller, so I have to use all the small tools on this thing.
Some men go just where they want.
So I need
Some
this
men
rascal.
never go.
smaller. There you go. That looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a scar in there. That's pretty awesome. Now let's wet sand it real quick. Hey Jazz, what do you think? Let's say just making some round things, my friend. So again, we're gonna go 220. Go 220 first. Go in here and get the worst of the scratches out. Now we go in here and gotta get the inside. Just as important. Then keep it wet. I see a scratch in there. Okay, we're good. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now this is the 320. Just making sure. Inside. Besides, this isn't just a thing, it's a piece of art. So you want to make it look like you thought about it when you made it. Alrighty. Now we got some. It's starting over again. Now you can see we have, and it's kind of translucent, you can see through it. Now let's go polish them up. I'm gonna actually come back and have a seat real quick for 5 minutes and have a vape before I go over and do the polishing, because I just have to reposition the camera. So, oh yay. Let's put this right down on the ground. There we go. So, there you go. Thoughts?
You remember Uncle Joe? He was the one afraid to cut the cake.
Now that'll take 5 minutes, and then I gotta move the camera. Put it over on the muffin wheel. Excuse me. You like? Oh, okay, cool. So has this thing been just going round and round? So here's what we got right now. Alright, we got the blue one. But you can see it has has one or two little holes in it, but not terrible. Then we got the green one. That turned out really nice. Grasshopper's a pretty color.
and aces.
Yeah, I know.
Who needs a
Well, I am sitting down to make them. Yes,
shake that
that's exactly what I play with.
and head out the
Let me see if I can find somebody else here. Something else here, yeah. So like I say, I always sometimes I'll sit down and make 8 or 9 of them at a shot, just cause, if you have the same drill in there, and a lot of times you can drill real deep and get 2 or 3 of them, so. Let's get it. Alright, let's stop that. Close it so I don't have the rest of it playing. And let's add this to our media playlist.
Well, my soul checked out missing as I sat listening to the hours and minutes ticking away. They're just sitting around.
So anyway, like I said, I have to go grab the camera and reposition it, and we'll get back to it in a minute. Yeah, so things I can do too is I can do things like, sleeves for mechs, chuff caps, all kinds of things. And I do things like holders for, to put in your cup holder. I can do, all kinds of different things. So sometimes, yes, the dire thing, yes, those are pen blanks. It's exactly what they are. Yep. Yes, Speed, that's exactly what I'm using. It's 3/4 by 3/4 by 6 or 5 pen blanks, but I also use 1.5 by 1.5 for things like mech sleeves and big tips and tanks. When I make tanks, I use this 1.5 by 1.5. So those are the 2 sizes I use. Yep, so yeah, any question you have, please, I'm happy to answer it. And I say, I've never been wanting to make a business out of doing this. I just like to sell a few to support my hobby, that's all. If it gets crazy, maybe I'll even pay a bill. That would be just, fantastic. There's a lot of these other companies, yeah, I know. Both have the same problem. And I say a lot of the places, they use CNC machines and machinist lathes, which are great, no question. But my problem, the reason I use an O-ring on these is because I can't hit that size exactly every single time. Just can't do it. I get close. I mean, I get within a couple thousands, but that won't cut it if you're trying to fit it into, something like this rabbit, like that. Because this thing has got an O-ring in it, which is great. So you got to make sure you make your O-ring a little lower so it hooks on the existing O-ring. So let me get over there. Let's put this back up without touching the screen. There we go. There we go. That's pretty good. Now let me reposition the camera. Hey, you can look around my dirty shop while I do this. I gotta make sure is that the plug doesn't come out. There we go. And this comes down. See? There's RC planes back there and all kinds of stuff. Tons of stuff in the ceiling. So let me get this over here. Come here, you. Move my, I haven't got the system all worked out yet, but I'm getting there.
Saw my reflection in a window and didn't know my own face. Oh, brother, you're gonna leave me wasting away in the streets of Philadelphia.
You're the one screwing up the works. Okay. Now, we're getting there. That's where I want to show you what I'm doing, but I want to zoom it in a little bit. I guess I'd have to do that over there, so I'm not going to. So, anyway, what I have here, and I'll push that out of the way so you can see it.
Voices of friends vanished and gone. At night I hear the blood in my veins.
There we go. Now this is the kind of lathe that most people start with. This is what's called a mini lathe. And it's just a little 10-inch lathe. It's 10-inch this way and usually 12 or 14 this way. And that's perfectly fine for starting. So let me oh, that'll work. I like that picture. That'll work pretty good. Let's see. Okay. So what I do is I have 3 rouges that I use, and let's say what I do is take that. I'm watching it myself to make sure that I'm seeing what I want. Okay, so and then what I do is I just have simple hunk of dowel, and I go in here and I have the light here so I can look to see the shine. And this one I probably should have went back and sanded it a little more. But again, once it's polished, you never see any little differences. But this is a pretty heavy rouge. It'll take out some pretty decent sized scratches. Yeah, it's little indents, but then of course you got to do this end. Get this. All part of the tip, and I used to do it without this, and I had tips flying all over the place. And then we just do this, just like that. We do the same thing with this. Yeah, you can see the little imperfections in it. I'll show them when they get over to when I get done and take it back over to the bench. Alright, shut that one off. Now that is a it's an called an emery. What's that?
That'll bring you down. She'll let you in her heart if you gotta.
Yeah, Bill does everything. Yeah, he does. I have to agree. That's it. I I'd love to come over and hang out with him for a week. Yeah, we'd have entirely too much fun. So this is the second wheel now, and it's a little finer. And this is going to get the scratches out from the other one. And yeah, sometimes my fingers come out nice and shiny when this is all done. So I will have buffed the first layer of skin off. Yeah, that's not terrible. Go around one more time. Alright, let's do this one.
She's got a secret.
Oh yeah, it does a great job, let me tell you. Pretty good for buffing mech mods too. You can see the little tiny imperfections in here, which would make me crazy, but oh well. So that's the second one. Now I take it, and the third and final one is a rouge called White Diamond. Yep, that's how you clean a mech. That's it. And you use either a rouge or a polish. I prefer a rouge, but what happens with a rouge is a rouge actually takes material off, where mostly a polish is a very, very fine rouge, really. It's got to take a little bit of material off, but you'll never see it, not like these guys are doing. And let's say, if I haven't got the shine by now, I'm not gonna. Do the end, do the top, grab this one. See, I like to do it this way because yeah, that'll do. Now we do the inside. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Yeah, bead lathe would be about the right size, Bill. Absolutely. So now I have made these rascals, and this is kind of my own invention. And they're just a bolt that I use to put rouge on, and then it allows me to get right inside the center here. And this is a trick. This is a super trick. Nobody, you know, get in there and get as much of the scratches out as you can. There's a little bit of burn in the inside, but going to worry about it. I'm actually pushing against it. And finally this one. This one. next one up. And we'll throw the Rouge on there. Then we have one more. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, I'm not... You know, it's just like people with their juice recipes. The mixers are going to mix, and the builders are going to build, and the buyers are going to buy. So... Because, you know, probably take... If you didn't have anything, you could probably get started for about $1,000. So you got the lathe and the tools and all the other stuff, and the stock. So your first drip tip would cost you $1,000. No big deal. It's a hobby. We can do that with hobbies. Yeah, that's a problem. Can't get in there to polish it at all.
We play King Mountain.
Yeah, hold on, we gotta redo this one. Wrap
Welcome
it.
charging up the hill,
Come on, get back on there.
and we were women and men. Now there's so much that time,
There we go. That's
time and memory fade away. Got our own roads to ride, and chances we got.
That's better. Now I get in there.
Reach
Take
the
some
sun
material off.
inside. Each one fighting for the other, and we sit until we die. It'll always be blood, brother. Now the hardness of this world slowly grinds your dreams away, making a fool's choice
Alright, we're almost done here.
out of the promises we made. What once seemed black and white turns to so many
Alright.
shades of gray.
We're done.
We lose ourselves in work to do, work to do and bills to pay. And it's a ride. And there ain't much cover, no one running
All right.
by your side.
Come back here again.
Blood,
Put this somewhere where I won't kick it, which is no place in here because I probably will. See? I will. Let's close this down. So. Alright, let me catch up with chat here. And, the last thing you do is, just give it a fine, you know, just take a paper towel through it.
houses of the dead, past those falling in their tracks, always moving ahead, and never looking back. Now I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, but you have a lot of it, Bill.
Don't know how I feel.
You have a lot of the tools already, don't you? Yeah, for 150, yeah, you just have to buy the tools, that's all. So the lathe, now if you buy a used lathe, you know, that's one thing, or they're out there, people get frustrated and want to get rid of them. That's how all of mine are used. I didn't buy one new one. Because generally, if they've been sitting in somebody's house, you know, in their basement, you can bet they probably got, you know, even if they're 10 years old, they probably have less than 20 hours on them, so.
Like some mystery uncovered,
Well, if you're going to go out and buy a lathe, make sure you get one with a number 2 Morris taper, because they make them with number 1s. And the problem with number 1s is that not many things are made for that size. Because, yeah, I mean, a jeweler's lathe you could even use. It would work fine. But you'd be stuck with the number 1 Morris taper. So, see if I can get some of this dirt out of these holes. Nope, doesn't look like it. Alright, time for the big reveal. There we go. Alright, so here's the blue one now. You can see it's got the nice shine on it. Let's see if I can get up here. Get that out of there, it'll be infinite. Alright, so there we go. Now you can see in this one, see there's a little divot, little air bubble. Come on, focus. There we go. But you can see there's another little air bubble.
Hey there, mister. Can you tell me what happened to the seeds?
That's the imperfections in the acrylic.
Can you give me a reason, sir, as to why they never
on the inside?
They just blown around from town to town till it back out on
very
these
nice.
fields. Yeah, where they fell from my hand back into the dirt of this island. Come on.
And then you got the green one.
I'm in my sister.
Now, this turned out pretty
From
nice.
Germantown, yeah, we did right. Well, we made our bed, sir, from the rock on the mountain.
This was one I did for another show. It's blue and green. But I didn't polish the inside.
Where the sun burst through the clouds to fall like a circle of fire down on this island.
There you go, gang. Let me go get my Boreas.
Now even the rain
Come on,
don't
move.
come round.
Damn.
Don't come round here no more. And the only sound at night's the wind slamming that back porch door.
I left my Boreas back at the, well, I have a silver one. I didn't want to use the silver, but get the size right. So, no, I never polish the lathe. What I do though is if occasionally I'll take some 600 grit sand, wet dry sandpaper and put oil down, and I'll get any dirt off it, you know, any rust or anything else that has built up over time. And I have taken it apart and completely lubed it and cleaned it, but polish it, nah. In fact, I found a neat trick with power tools, like big ones like bandsaws and joiners and whatnot. Biggest complaint I ever heard at Woodcraft when I worked in woodworking is that when people leave their stuff out in the garage, it all surface rusts. And I found out just by mistake that if you leave a light layer of sawdust on top of the cast iron, it doesn't rust. And when you're ready to use it, just brush off the... Oh, do I polish on my lathe? I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't read it correctly. Yeah, that's exactly what I use. Yeah, polish. Sorry, I wasn't reading it right. Well, that little one, that is a wood lathe. It just doesn't have a tailstock on it. The guy was getting rid of it because he broke the tailstock, and I asked him how much he want for it, and he said 20 bucks. And I bought it off him because I don't need the tailstock for what I was doing. In fact, what I plan to do is take those two little lathes, take, you know, this lathe here and this lathe here, and I'm going to bolt them together to make one big lathe. Because there's what's called a bed extension, where you can take that 14-inch lathe and make it a 28-inch lathe. And I thought, duh, dopey, why don't you just bolt the two lathes together and then you'd have a really long bed. So I'll do that. Oh no, that's the only thing, and that's a variable speed lathe. The first one, and the one I was just polishing on is a fixed lathe. It goes from, I think, 500 up to 3200. Now let me get my Boreas and I'll tell you exactly what it goes to. The lowest is 500 RPM and the highest is 3900 RPM. So there you go. And my big one, not sure what the max speed is on this thing. I have to look it up. But it's pretty fast. That was almost max speed I was turning at. That was one notch below. So let's put this on here on my O-rings. Alright. No, not a bench grinder. Yeah, that's definitely... The bench grinder I have is probably as old as I am. It was bought at a estate sale, and it actually has a 2 horsepower motor and a drive belt on it. It's like, holy macaroni, that was before lawyers. There we go. I'll take this off. Throw that on. Close that up, and I put some juice in here. I have some, actually I mixed up some of Jen's stuff. I have some Lady of Earl, and I also have some Pegasus tears sitting here. So I'm gonna put some Lady of Earl in this. A little bit more. Now if you look at the bottom, you can see that I just got it. It's tough to see there, but I just got it to seat just about perfectly. So open this up. That comes in at 2.8. There we go. That's kind of what I was going for when I bought this. That's all. What do you think, Speed? Pretty matchy-matchy? Yeah. Why does this thing seem to be playing the same tunes over and over again? Oh well. Speed's not here. He's probably out in the garage unpacking his lathe. What do you think? Yeah, that would be my guess. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, it's not, again, I make it look super easy because I've done hundreds of them, and I've also been doing turning for quite some time. So there is a learning curve to it. You just have to persevere and make every mistake. know, because it actually took me about probably 6 months to get consistent on making tips, and you know, I had to change the procedure here and change it there because this wasn't working and that wasn't working. And then let's say after that, then it was, I figured out that other way to polish, which was really cool. So it's been about a year and a half before I got the system down where I like it. So I wanted to take this one off, and this is why I made this blue one. And it's too tall. Oh well. Let's see how this one is. It's a tiny bit tall. So we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to put an O-ring on it.
Like a vision, she dances
Too much junk.
across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the
And what I would do out in the shop when I was out on the road selling these things
Don't turn me home
is
again, I just can't
I would
face
simply
myself alone again. Don't run back inside, darling, you know
what I used to do if it was a little long, I always kept a flat file with
so
me,
you're scared and you're
and I would just sit in here and just
ain't that young
real quick take material off, and then I would carry a little
You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're alright.
what's that telly, man?
You can hide your covers and study your pain. You cross lovers, stars in the rain. Waste your
So let me take some more off of this. So let me clean this out from the little shavings. And then when I was out there, I would have a little piece of 600 grit or 320, and then I'd polish the end back up again, which nobody really cared, but I cared. Close enough for jazz. And how loose is that? Not bad. One of these will probably do the job. There we go. That's what you want. You want to be able to hold the mod by the drip tip. Then you know it's fit correctly. See that? Then you know your tip's on correctly. That's why people say 2 O-rings is better than 1. Yeah, it is if you can, if you have the machine to make it. But I don't, so... You know, and this is a drip tip that won't leave you. Yeah, technically, man, what I did is when I upgraded my equipment, I forgot to upgrade the resolution. So now I'm running at 720, and I could go up to the 1080, but yeah, what's the point? I don't want you guys will be able to count the hairs in my beard. So yeah, upgraded all kinds of things, Stanley, man, just to be able to do what I just did. That was my goal, to somehow be able to show you guys live turning. Yes, thank you very much, Tetley, man. Yeah, like I said, that was all part of, let's say I probably invested $1,000 in my computer equipment and camera equipment just because I wanted to make a good looking show. And I think I've improved. I'm sure I could do better, you know. I was thinking about a green screen, but that nobody would know who the hell I was if they didn't see this mess behind me. So, but yeah, so I got that down. The next trick with this whole system, and Bill and I and Extreme and a few other guys, we were all talking about, I have an old router, and what I need to do is take the hardwire feed from upstairs, plug it into the old router, and then do a dispersion from there so I can take that camera and hardwire it. And that'd be cool. Yeah, like I said, it's just because I'd be able to do stuff, but I got cool stuff to look at behind me. I don't need to do anything. You know? So, time of the day is at 9:48. Damn, we've been having fun. So yeah, that's what it takes. Like I said, about a half hour drip tip is usually about half hour, 45 minutes, depending, is about what it takes. So when I charge 20 bucks a tip, or like I said, for the real fancy ones, you know, it's half hour, 45 minutes work, but I didn't learn how to do it overnight, and I didn't have the tools overnight, so, you know, it works. And if you don't, you know, that's fine. But I think these things are, I mean, they're smooth as a baby's butt. You know, that's the nice part. Like when I was turning this thing, I felt that rough edge, and that would not work. That was one of those air bubbles that was cut in half. So, real happy with it. That's great. Open up 3 holes on this Boreas. There we go. And the neat thing also is, if you wanted this an 1/8 inch, or you wanted it 3 inches, or you wanted a vase, or whatever the hell you want, I can make it. You know, this is just the standard size. I can make any size or shape you want. You know, there'll only be one like that, because even I couldn't remake it exactly the way the one that I would make for you. So, that was fun, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Learned something. And I got a lot of other things I can show you guys. I mean, I can even do one of the, you know, do the mod stands that a lot of people are selling now. I've got a couple of those ready to go. I can show you how to turn one, you know, how those are turned. And that's cool, because that's all wood. So, that's pretty neat. I'm glad the sound was good and the picture was good. Yeah, definitely. If you have any questions, Bill, just ring my phone. You know that. Well, top cap, the biggest thing I can make is 30 millimeter, and that's only because that's how big these are. If I had a bigger piece of acrylic, I could make a bigger tip, but these are the only 2 sizes I have available to me. So, and the tanks are even more fun. There, let me. Let's say the tanks are even more fun because, you know, you have to let's say the tanks are even more fun because not only do you have to go with height and width, but you also have to go with thickness. And then figure enough material to polish out all the scratches. Because I've already got burned where I made it too thin, and by the time I polished out the scratches, it was too, you know, it was, it either was so thin or it got hot and got cloudy, so that's another fun thing to do. Oh, Addy boxes, yeah. Well, like I said, I made a whole bunch of them. If you ever want to try, but they're not fun. They're not as much fun as drilling 4 holes in an aluminum box, trust me. That's the way I'm going from now on. 4 or 5 holes in an aluminum box. Yep, so, because the wood is just too much.
I come from down
So, anyway.
the valley, where Mr. When you're
Well, that was a fun way to kill 2 hours.
they bring you up to do like your daddy done.
Shut this thing off.
Me and Mary, we 17. We drive out of this valley down to where fields
Shoot this guy off. Come on. Power off.
We go down to
The river.
and into the river we dive. Oh, down to the river we ride.
Yeah, I'll turn it off later. It's being a dick.
Very pregnant, and man, that was all she wrote.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Our 19th birthday.
I mean, think about it. There's a lot of pre-made boxes out there that you can do really cool stuff with. I was trying a bandsaw boxes, but they turned out to be way too much work for what you could get for them. But if you just want to make a simple bandsaw box, that's pretty easy. Yeah. But I was shooting for drawers and all that, and of course I overcomplicated things. You know, that's par for my course. So good, guys. Well, like I said, we got 6 minutes to get, and we're gonna get out of here. And I can't tell you, I was so glad to share that with you folks. Been wanting to do that for a long time. Yeah. So. Well, I still say the fatality. I agree with fatality is still better than the Boreas.
I got a job working construction.
Oh, Speed, like I said, I figured you went out in the garage and were unpacking your lathe, dude. And Speed, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you know, I'd be happy to do a one-on-one with you and, you know, teach you the tricks and teach you the proper way to turn so you don't get a lot of bad habits and get frustrated and not worry, you know, not want to do it anymore. Because then you can get into a lot of bad habits where things fly apart, things get catches, and, you know, and there's a right way, and there's everything in life. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. So, be glad to help you, Speed. Yeah. That's what I said. I figured because I didn't hear from you for like a half hour, I figured you were out in the garage unpacking your lathe. Well, the nice thing about a mini lathe is you can store it under the bench when you're not using it and bring it out and use it. I did that for years. That's crazy, Bill. Yep. Yes, there are, and I've done all of them. I mean, the best one I ever did is a catch is when you're turning wood and the tool actually bites in instead of cuts the wood. And I stalled a 20-inch lathe, and it's sitting there going, and it's got like a 2-horse motor on it, and I'm like, what do I do? If I take the tool out, is the bolt gonna fly apart, or do I couldn't reach the power switch, and I ended up just yanking the tool out and waiting to see where everything fell, but it turned out to be all right. In fact, I still have the bowl. Yeah, that was scary, man. And then, you know, the other thing is you get to the last little bit of your turn, and then the whole thing falls apart. Yeah, I've got that. Yes, exactly. Both things are true. The wrong angle, a dull tool. When you start turning Speed, you're gonna have to know how to sharpen your tools, because that's part of it. And there's a lot of ways to get it done, and there's some expensive ways and there's some cheap ways. So we'll go through that sometime when you're ready. So anyway, yeah. So that's the fun. I mean, this is one of my favorite ones. This turned out super nice. This is a wooden one. Come on. I don't know if that'll focus or not. There you go. That turned out real nice. That good. A grinder is it's a start. You know, I do mine a lot sharper than a grinder can get. Like I go up to 2,000 grit when I sharpen mine because I have a wet wheel grinder. It's actually a whole sharpening system with you know, it has a not a polishing wheel. What's the word? A burnishing wheel, and that's it. And it does a very, very nice job. If you want to look up something, Speed, look up a tool called a Tormac, T-O-R-M-A-C. It's a Swedish sharpening system that you can drop a couple grand on without too much trouble. And I have like its little brother that, again, I got it off somebody who was getting out of the hobby, and, you know, it all took time and patience till I found this stuff. So. And on that note, gang, I think I am going to leave you. I want to thank you all for hanging around. And if you have any suggestions for things you'd like me to make, I'm more than happy, you know, more than happy to take suggestions and do it. I mean, that's what I have all this stuff for, is to use it. And if I can demonstrate it and help somebody else, that's all the better for me. So, anyway. Oh, like I say, Speed, my pleasure. And like I said, I was glad I could do something cool for you guys. And you know what? I will see you all next week. Be well. Take care of yourself. And I'll catch you.